Let's see. All right, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I was getting a little concerned. You guys stayed up too long last night. Did you? I know I went to sleep right away because I was ready for sleep. But anyways, it was an amazing day and evening yesterday, and I want us to give a big hand to all the folks that were on stage yesterday and did such an amazing job setting us up for this weekend. Come on, give them a big hand. I would say that the theme of the event really came true, but it's no surprise, because anytime you put these types of folks, people have done it, people have had the fruit on the tree, people have lived it, all of a sudden, that extra energy comes out. And the years of the struggle and the years of overcoming to become really show up. And you guys, I was very proud of you all sitting back there. Mine say I was trying to keep it together because it was a long day, but I tell you, it was worth every single minute of it. I can't imagine for all of you that were here, especially the new people. How many of you were new people here yesterday and today? All right, fantastic. Well, it's great. So today what I wanted to do is really kind of go a little broader, okay? Because, you know, the promises of this industry are real. 38 years ago, I sat in a room in Providence, Rhode Island. I was invited by a friend. At that time, I was working in the factory for $1.65 an hour. I was a newly arrived immigrant in America following the American dream. But usually the American dream starts with the American nightmare first, and then it becomes a dream. I was living the nightmare. But then, in that room, that night, that one phone call totally changed the course of my life and the course of my children and my grandchildren's life. I hope that none of you take it for granted what the promise of No, it's okay. We just keep the sound low. Because I get to live an extraordinary life because of that one phone call. Because somebody cared enough about me to call me and say, "What are you doing Tuesday night?" Little did they know they were setting me up for a complete transformation of my life. And folks, that is something that each one of us, we have that in our power. Now, that was not planned that way. That's supposed to come up before I show up, but I had to improvise. So, but I wanted to kind of remind you again how powerful this thing that you have in your hand is. And every day that you do not pick up that phone and you don't break the seal of your front door to go out and shake some hands and get in front of somebody and tell them about this amazing story, this amazing industry, you are doing them and you a great disservice. Does that make sense? Because when you put everything aside, all the little things, I call them little things because they're little things. Life is just full of little things. Nothing is really big. Everything is little in comparison to the big things. And the big things are changing other people's lives, living a legacy of change and transformation in the lives of many. I hope that's what you know you signed up for. At first, it sounds like it's for you, but then you realize it's really about others. And your life has no meaning until it's about others. Isn't that right? Because that's the only thing we leave behind is either a trail of disaster or a trail of blessings. And Manatech, for me, this industry for me has been a mechanism, a platform to live behind a trail of blessings. Now, before you really get convinced about the fact that this is the right thing to do, as we talked about yesterday, before you get motivated about going out and doing this, we talked yesterday about the 4 basic beliefs. Do you remember what those 4 beliefs were? Number 1, this industry. Because if you think this is a scam, if you've really bought into this thing being a pyramid scheme, or if you really bought into all the stuff that uninformed, ignorant people think about this industry, then it's going to be very hard, would you say, to go out and give it your all. I still remember doing a meeting in Los Angeles. Great meeting. Everything was wonderful, big crowd. And at the end, this lady walked up to me. I was still on stage. And she said, I love everything. I'm excited. But every time I go talk to people, before I even open my mouth, they go, is this network marketing? And then I'm like, I don't know what to do anymore. What do you recommend? Or, help me. What can I, how do I deal with that? So before you open your mouth, they say, is this network marketing? I say, ma'am, let me ask you this. How do you feel about network marketing? Well, you could tell. She was struggling internally with the concept of network marketing. And you got to understand something, guys. Some of you are wondering, I'm doing all the right things, but somehow I'm not getting the results that I want. I say all the right things. I'm doing it exactly like my upline told me to do. Why am I not getting the best outcome? Well, I got to tell you today, it's not about the company, the product, the comp plan, your upline, your downline. It is really about you. Does that make sense? How do you feel about what you're doing? Oh, you can say all the right words, but other human beings don't just listen to your words. You are, like Dr. Nugent talks about, this antenna that's always transmitting, whether you like it or not. And what you're transmitting is your deeper thoughts, your deeper beliefs. You can cover it up all you want, but if deep down inside you haven't reconciled with what is it that you're doing and why this is the best thing for other people, I recommend you find yourself another line of work. Because I'm sorry, it's not going to work. Now, if you really want it badly enough, then you will surround yourself. You will be in the right places with the right people. You're going to read the right books. You're going to listen to the right podcasts. You're going to do all the things you need to do to make sure that what you have fed, not in your conscious mind, in your subconscious mind, and then beneath your subconscious mind, your infinite mind, that you have fed it the right stuff so that at some point in time, your breakthrough is when you have totally reconciled with the concept of this industry. I have no problem talking about this industry. There's not a person who can get within 5 feet or 5 meters of me who doesn't know I am totally sold out to this industry. And to whom much is given, much is required. People say, don't you get tired traveling the world? And no, I don't get tired. I was a little tired last night. That does happen once in a while, but I never get tired talking about this thing. Because deep down inside, with every fiber of my being, I believe this is the best opportunity in the world for people to transform into the best version of themselves. And when you are the best version of yourself, you are a magnet. You are a magnet. You can't help it. People just get attracted to you. And not just when you physically. Today, with technology, you don't realize that you can project yourself all over the world through social media, through the cell phone, because your energy carries all over. So today, what I want to help you with is I want to convey to you the best that I can why I feel so strongly about this. Remember, this is not, this is no longer my puppy love When I first met the industry, that was puppy love, first love. Sometimes we can make mistakes with our first love, right? But not when you've been around 38 years in 69 different countries, and you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. When you've been tested in every way you can possibly be tested, when you've gone through all the challenges, all the disappointments, all the stuff of life and business, and if 38 years later you feel just as excited, if not even today, I want to share with you, I am more excited about this industry today and the possibilities that exist that I have ever been in 39 years. So I'm not, I'm an engineer. I come from logic. Actually, things have to make sense to me before I can register it, right? Before it goes deeper. It has to make sense. Doesn't, and frankly, it shouldn't have to make sense. You can operate it completely illogically and it still works. But I come from logic. I come from, it has to make sense. And then I analyze things. I look at things in a way that, I put the dots together. I look into 5, 10 years. I'm constantly trying to understand what the future looks like and how does that relate to what I'm doing right now. Am I still relevant? Are you still relevant? Is this industry still relevant in a world that is changing so fast? And I'm hoping that by the time I'm done with this presentation, that I would have carried forward both the logic and emotion of this industry, this amazing industry. And I hope that when that makes sense to you, then it's just a matter of then figuring out where we are right now, the company that we have, the people that we have, the team that we have, who we are, how does that all align perfectly with what this industry is all about? How many of you are about changing people's lives? You get a kick out of seeing people become the best version of themselves. Because if that's who you are, folks, unlimited success is in your future. Now, would you agree with me? The world is changing at a very rapid rate, right? Whether it's a driverless car or artificial intelligence, cryptocurrencies, DNA studies, the genome and all that, and robots, smartphones, the world is changing. There's a Chinese proverb that says, may you live in interesting times. Well, folks, we are living in interesting times. Now, interesting could be interesting like really positive interesting or really negative interesting, right? Because usually change is one thing that really strikes fear in the heart of man and woman. We do not like change. Is that true? And yet, we have been exposed to the most rapid rate of change in the history of humanity. So how does that make you feel? A little off balance, right? So we got to kind of make sense of all of this. Right?
They're on an app called Weixin.
This is a beggar in the street of
it's a bit like WhatsApp.
Some street in China.
What it really is an operating system for debit
and
cards.
he has a QR code,
movie tickets,
which means that to give him money, you need to just scan the QR code, and in your phone, you can transfer some money to him.
Real-world interactions.
Right? Has the world changed or what? When I'm walking the streets of China, and I was just watching today on BBC, this is happening also in Africa, all the new developing nations are now totally bypassing the process we went through. So now they, online, smartphones, and those things are just changing the way people live, people do business. Even how you beg is different. So, if that's true, then the question to you need to be ready to answer is, are you preparing yourself? Are you equipping yourself to be able to maximize these changes to your benefit? Because for me, one of the propositions I will say about being part of Manatech, being part of this industry, is that you are exposed to things that the average person is not exposed to. And just like sheep to slaughter, lack of knowledge, for lack of knowledge, they perish. They're perishing in their health, they're perishing in their wealth, and they're perishing in their sense of having a purpose and significance. And those are all the things that we can bring into their lives just by starting a simple conversation about TruePure, Amberto's Life, Impact Plus. Simple conversation with amazing, phenomenal, life-changing, generation-impacting type of outcome. So, November 11, 2018, one company, one website, did $30 billion in sales in 24 hours. To give you a sense of how big that is, in America, there's 1,400 direct sales companies, including giants like Amway at $8 billion, Nu Skin at $3-4 billion, Herbalife and USANA. You add them all together, 1,400 companies. Their yearly sales is one-day sales for this website. Isn't that something else? $30 billion of transactions happen in 24 hours. $30 billion worth of merchandise was shipped out of warehouses. I visited one of those warehouses weeks while they were getting ready for this. It's the biggest show of what the new technologies, the new logistic technologies are all about. Why do I say this to you? Because at the end of the day, what do you think Manatech is? At its core, we're a website. And we move products, wellness product. We're a wellness website. If these guys have figured out the transactional complexities of doing $30 billion in one day, what does that tell you about the future? Some of you think you should be concerned. No, you should be excited, because for our business, it means that we use the same warehouses they use. What they do is not a secret. You follow me? So our opportunity to scale beyond all measure is part of our future. We just got to figure out a few things. Now, they have figured out the operational, side of it, the transactional side of it. You know what they miss? Is what I call the relational side of it. What does Manatech have? We have figured out the relational side, because I can tell you, there's not citizens in China sitting around in a room like this talking about how wonderful Alibaba is. And as far as I know, they don't send people on cruises, they don't send people to Fiji or the Maldives or Thailand or, on a Caribbean cruise. No relations, just transactions. What if you could combine transactions and relations together and create the biggest iconic company in the history of the world? Yep. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's in your future. That's in our future. Now, there's a saying that says that fortunes are made in times of transition. I'm going to tell you guys, you can choose to make up whatever story you want about what's coming, about what the future looks like. I choose to make this my story. Fortunes are made in times of change, in times of transition. You follow me? It was, if you go back in history, the age of the railroad and steel and all those things, when the Industrial Revolution happened, some of the greatest fortune were created during those times. And then we've had many different ages since the industrial age, the information age, the Googles and the Microsofts of the world, and all those companies who just became these huge companies. But in the future, the biggest company in the history of the world is probably a 14-year-old kid in a room with his computer starting to code. He just started just now building the greatest company ever created in the history of the world. Because it was not long, it was less than 10 years ago, Mr. Ma was in his garage, if there was such a thing in China. And he was coding this website that was going to connect Chinese companies to American companies. Within 10 years, it's the most valuable company on the face of the earth. First $1 trillion companies are being built, and they start in the garage. It was not long ago that Jeff Bezos was sitting there in a room by himself. He had a door with two stands, and that was his desk. And he's sitting at that computer. How many of you seen that picture? He's got a sign in the back behind him that says Amazon. And he was coding while his wife was actually out there working to put food on the table, and that's another story altogether. But it was just yesterday. One man with a dream, one woman with a dream, were building the most valuable company in the history of the world. Folks, you cannot despise the days of small beginnings. You cannot despise the power. You can't underestimate the power of one or two. Because when you put that together, that's even more powerful. 1 + 1 = 1,000. So folks, if that's true and the fortunes are made in times of transition, then let's walk through and understand what does that mean for us and why we are really positioned to be able to leverage and maximize what's going on in the world. Now, would you agree with me the world is growing? So when you think in terms of the mega trends, one of them is that the world is growing. And we've been at 7 billion for a while, but this thing is going to start accelerating as countries like China eliminate the one-child policy and all this huge, middle class that is coming up, and as people get better, as they get better financially, then they will start reproducing even faster. Does that make sense? I hope I'm not putting it in terms that are too clinical, but so we're going to be at 10 billion people world. We'll be at 11, at 12. It's going to be a little while, but what happens to a growing world for us is that there's that much more people who need the types of things that we offer. Because wellness continues to be one of the fastest growing segment of business altogether. 10 years ago, we got really excited because an author, Mr. Pilzer, wrote the book, The Next Trillion. You remember that? The Next Trillion. Wellness will be the next trillion. Wow. We were so excited about that. 10 years later, it's $4.2 trillion. Why is that important to us? Why should we get excited about the fact that wellness is a growing... Oh, do you want it back? Okay. I heard that. All right, you got it? By the way, these slides are available. Anything you see, I can make that available to your leadership. So not a problem. Don't worry about taking the pictures. It's great. But I can make the slides available to all of you. So those are the categories in which that 4.2 trillion, break out. But one of them that is really important to us is what? Anti-aging. Do you realize that Amber Toast is probably the best anti-aging product ever made? Did you get that? I know we don't go around calling it an anti-aging product, but boy, it is the best anti-aging product that exists. That's why all of us look like we're just getting into our prime. We're just getting started, right? Isn't it? I'm telling you, I feel younger, and I think I look younger than I did 10 years ago. And so anti-aging, fitness, mind and body, healthy eating, nutrition, weight loss, these are all the categories that we play in. So folks, our future, I want you to understand, our future is bright and the things that we can do. When I look at the direct selling industry, the industry we're in as well, outside of being in a wellness industry, wellness and skincare are the two biggest segments of our industry. I used to be in the soap business. There was hope in soap, but soap is not doing so well right now. Does that make sense? That's not where the future is. The future is in wellness. The future is in anti-aging. The future is in skincare. The future is in weight loss or fat loss. The future is in those things. Because that's where, if you heard Dr. Nugent yesterday, and by the way, wasn't he great? Yeah. He was on point, really. He was really on point. We have some of the best anti-aging products there is. That AO is an amazing product. And Ambritos Life, any of our Ambritos products, Manipul, folks, we help people regenerate. And and do you realize that also we're going mainstream? Now, I know I mentioned it to Dr. Nugent, and he mentioned it to you as well, but check WebMD when you can. They don't just say glyconutrients. In parentheses, they go, glyconutrients, in parentheses, Ambritos, Manipul, and a couple other names. We are connected directly to that term. And then they go in and they start talking about all the stuff that it does that we can't say. But if they can say it, all we have to say is, Google it, right? Just Google it. It starts with A, alcoholism, all the way to Z. Everything under the sun is in there. What an amazing validation, right? For something that, we've been kind of the lone voice in the desert for years, right? And now, all of a sudden, the world just woke up to this thing. The University of Glasgow, just about a month and a half ago, published a clinical study that was done on rats, but where they actually, they laid it out. What is the mechanism of action on certain tumors? And again, look, guys, I'm not saying we cure cancer, right? Just so we make it clear. Don't anybody walk out of here. I heard Al say this thing cures what, right? No, but they established how mannose, specifically mannose, will actually inhibit glucose from feeding these tumors. That's what the study said. Now, guys, again, let's be careful with that information, right? I just want, but it's public. You can easily find it. University of Glasgow, Manos, clinical study, look for it. The BBC took that article and they pushed it out. Like, these people in Glasgow just found out something really amazing and exciting. I'm serious. That's how I got it. It was a BBC, feed that came through my Google, and because I got Manos as something that anything that comes out of Manos, I want to know. And that was just an amazing validation of understanding, finally, the mechanism of action for this. Now, some of us may have known this, right? But we didn't know how. And they figured out how and why that happened. So, folks, all here to say that we are in the right segment of business, and we have the right products in that segment. This is a US chart, but it says basically that the sales of capsules and liquids and gels and tablets and powders is going to continue to grow about 7.5% over the next 10 years, every year. That's pretty powerful. If you're going to be part of something, do you want to be part of something that's growing? Of course you do, okay? So the other mega trend is globalization. Folks, every time I come through Australia, I get excited. And I don't know why I get more excited than you get excited. Maybe because I have a different perspective. When I'm greeted coming out of the Sydney customs by a big, huge sign in Chinese, and when I start walking through duty free and They're celebrating Chinese New Year. And when I see them advertise all these different supplements, guys, what other airport in the world advertises supplements as you come out of customs? I travel all over the world, I can tell you. None. But guess where they do it? In Sydney, in Adelaide, in Melbourne. Why? What do you think is happening? There's a customer base that they're reaching out to. Your airports is the only one that has as much, space for baby milk powder as there is for perfume, almost. Why? Because there's a global need for what we have. Folks, in a world that is social, mobile, global, are you in the right place, guys? I know it sounds to you like I'm trying to motivate you. I'm just trying to wake you up. You don't need any more motivation. You just need to wake up and realize, my God, we're sitting in the most incredible location geographically in the world to maximize the biggest surge of business we will ever see in our lifetime. You follow me? Now, I know we've talked about China before, but I want to talk to you again about China. Is that okay? Because I assure you, every time I come here, I'm going to talk to you about China until you stop inviting me. All right? Because I know some of you, you've tried it. It's almost like some of you have already said, well, I tried it, but it didn't work, so I'm done. Like China just disappeared in the ocean. It just got swallowed up, a big, huge tsunami, and no more China. At least no more China for you. Let me give you a story. I was with Dr. Heinz, who is the upline to our biggest Chinese business, which last year did $27 million in sales. 8 years ago, when I met them at the first, when I first met them in the Bahamas, as they were just coming through, they were at $6,000 a month in volume. Last year, they did $27 million. And by the way, by the time we are done, the next 3 years, they're going to be $100 million, and they're going to be $1 billion just by themselves. But I asked Dr. Heinz, how did you come about this business? What happened? Give me the history. And the story was amazing. And if you don't mind, let me share this with you so that hopefully I can encourage you and motivate you to stay the course. Years ago, when Dr. Heinz first started, he's been in Manatech 25 years. He sponsored his best mate that they went to ophthalmology school together, and his best mate, and has been with him in business, the full 25 years, but never did much. Actually, that time he was going through a divorce, so he was really not focused on Manatech. But when he was a little excited about it, he sponsored this couple. The wife was Chinese, the husband was American. And that couple would come to these meetings like this, year after year, maybe 2-3 years. He said the guy was sitting in the back of the room, with his hands folded. Dr. Heinz would come in all excited. Hey, how you doing? Can I help you? No, I'm okay. Now, as Dr. Heinz would check his volume was like $6,000 to $1,000 of personal consumption, because he had found out that this was really good products for his mom. So they were buying the product every month, giving it to his mom. Never built the business. So he would come to the meetings, sit back there, listen to Dr. Nugent, go home, and you don't see him until the next big event. Well, something happened in his job, and one day he picks up the phone, he goes, Steve, I probably want to do something with this business. Okay, so Steve gets all excited, sets up a meeting, goes to see him. They make a list of names, And in that list of names was a doctor and his wife called Dr. Sun. So they did a three-way call. Then they had a meeting with Dr. Sun. Steve said, I didn't even talk to the guy about the business. I just got to meet him. I built a relationship. I love Dennis, we build relationships. Both of you talked about, so the guy was like a little nervous because Steve never said nothing about business. These guys were getting ready to go on vacation to Vancouver. They talked about all the other things, but never talked about business, never signed the guy up. But because maybe they didn't try to sign him up, the guy went on a website on his own, figured out how to get signed up, called Dr. and said, I just signed up. Oh, how did you do that? I went on the website, I figured it out. Guys, you can't say the right thing to the wrong people. You can't do or say the wrong thing to the right people. These people were just right. How many would you like that? I mean, when you follow up, they go, yeah, I already signed up. Don't worry about it. I bought actually 3 of those all-star packs, $1,000. So my wife is in business, I'm in business, my daughter's in business. We're all set. This is 10 years after he sponsored his best mate, who sponsored this couple that never did nothing, and then all of a sudden this doctor. And from that doctor is where Julia Zhu comes from, and that's from Julia Zhu will come $1 billion business. So folks, are we done yet? Are you done with China yet? Do you think there's maybe China in your future? All you got to do is what? Build relationships. Does that make sense? So anyways, folks, I don't have to tell you much, but social selling, especially when you look at something like WeChat with 800 million people in it, it's just amazing. Just become good at it, figure it out, watch YouTubes about it, whatever you have to do to get good at it, but get good at it, because it's changing the world. Okay? So, why is social selling really a cool thing for us? Because basically what social selling really is about it's about friends talking to friends. 90% of the people say the most trusted source of information for them is what? A friend. What do? We're friends talking to friends. So don't underestimate that, and don't think that that's the past. That's the future, guys, that we're talking about. Does that make sense? And then I'm going to go through this really quick. There's a new business model that just came up, and it's called the subscription model. We call it auto order. So the thing that you thought was kind of like archaic and a little kludgy and asking people to be on auto order, now today we know it as we live in a subscription economy. Everything is subscription. But watch this next slide. We're shifting from products to relationship. Are we in the right business? Are you seeing what's going on? All these companies want to be in the relationship business. Oh, I really want to be friends with Unilever. Oh. Hello? That's not who we want to be friends with. They're missing something. Well, you know what they're missing? You. They don't have you. They haven't spent 25 years finding the best of the best of the best like we have in this room. We have you. They don't have you. You follow me? So today, every industry is shifting to this thing called the subscription economy. We're already in a subscription economy, guys. That's what we do. So don't feel bad about saying to somebody, you need to get an automatic order, just like, Amazon's got this program and the other store's got that program. Everybody is going into what? Subscriptions. Let's do both subscriptions. Maybe change the word. Don't call it auto order. We're going to put you on subscription. And those who subscribe actually have advantages. Does that make sense? Are you feeling better about your business? I hope you are, because if not, I'm sweating a whole lot for nothing. Okay? Uber, Spotify, Box, Airbnb, the new disruptors. See, we were the old disruptors. because we were the disruptors. We did business on different terms. Okay, and Amazon, Google, Apple, Facebook, Salesforce, the relationship makers. I wish I had another slide that said Manatech, the relationship makers. You truly are the relationship makers. You make relationships like nobody else does. I don't expect Uber to call me when my mom is in a hospital and I'm going through a little episode. I don't expect that, Salesforce or these other companies will care about my birthday. Maybe they'll send me an automated thing that just goes out, but do they really care about you the way you care about the people that you're with? Folks, we have a powerful differentiation. And it's time we get excited about it. Understand that the business model that you're part of is one of the best business models in existence right now. We've already done the last 25 years. We've honed our skills in creating relationships. Because on the other side of this story, this is where the story gets bad. And that's when you realize that if you're not going to do this because you're too good for it, or you think this is somebody yesterday, a new person, I don't know, she's here today, but we had a good conversation around how she felt about the relationship between me and you, thinking that I'm getting you excited to go just do my little work for me. No, I'm here to work for them. They don't work for me. I work for them. Big difference. But guys, this reality is here. The robots and all that stuff, and artificial intelligence, all those things are here to stay. And they're going to create a world where we're going to see the greatest transition of people from employee to entrepreneur that we've ever seen. We call them micro-entrepreneurs. I call them as well. So you've seen this, you understand this. It's happening. We just want to position direct sales as that thing that we want everybody to do instead of the other things, right? Because we have something called asset income. We have something called exponential growth. We have all the things that you heard yesterday from Kevin. All those things are differentiators, and they really make us a whole lot different short-term and long-term than anything else. So, guys, this is another mega trend, millennials. Now, I will agree with Dr. Nugent that our prime customers are the baby boomers, right? There is a very large group of baby boomers who need to feel better, look better, live longer. It is a sweet spot for us. And so you should be really excited. How many baby boomers do we have here? Great. Well, guys, I think we have the right team to go after this big, amazing market that exists out there, and we have the right products for it. But we can't forget at the same time that there's another group of people coming behind you, and they're called what? The millennials. And this is what I love about the millennials. They understand the reality of what they call the hustle economy. They need a side hustle. They are preparing for the fourth industrial revolution, which is a world without work. Google it, fourth industrial revolution. That's what we're in, and that's the world without work. In a world without work, you do gigs. You do side hustles. But there's one side hustle that is way above any other side hustle, and that's direct sales. That's what we do, okay? But there's 63% of them. We call them influencers. So I'm going to go through this really quick, guys. Influencers are those people that we're trying to be and attract. So as I go through this really quick, I want you to be thinking about it from your standpoint. Are you one of these people? They're independent. Are you independent? Yeah. You think independent? Yeah. Some of you, very independent. Okay, I know. 2, problem solvers. There's no Manatech emergency situations, and we are what? Problem solvers. We get paid to do what? Solve problems. If you're in business, you solve problems, whether it's a consumer problem or a problem. That's the only thing we know is going to happen. So let's adopt this mentality of we solve problems. You know, I tell people in my office all the time, there's no Manatech emergency. Situations, we solve them, we move forward. That's what we're here for. Number 3, they're consistent in their effort, but they're also consistent in their attitude. They manage their attitudes. They manage their emotional state. Nobody else does. You are responsible for your emotional state. And I'm going to tell you something. People don't follow people that are unstable emotionally. If you're going to be like up and down like a yo-yo or a roller coaster, and they don't know who they're going to talk to today, you got a problem. Your job when you wake up in the morning, and I heard Karen talk about it yesterday, and I think I heard you talk about it as well, Naomi, is you look yourself in the mirror and you decide, I'm grateful for my pillow, I'm grateful for my bed, I'm grateful for my coffee, I'm grateful for everything. By the time you're out, you are grateful. You're in a different state, right? Because that's what the world needs to see. They don't want to have to deal with your negative. They have enough of their own. You're going to be the bright light in their life. Love your attitude. You're the police, right? The attitude police. You need to be the attitude police to yourself every single day. Consistent in attitude. Create action. And you have a big vision. What's your vision? What's your dream? What's your vision? Is it big enough? Is it exciting enough? Is it something that will attract people? Is that something that will get people's mind? You know, you make people imagine. You make people see the brighter, the bigger. They live in abundance, not in scarcity. And everything is better. When you're around, everything is better. So Manatech's got a vision. By 2020, we're going to be on our way to $1 billion. Now, I just put a caveat there. We're not going to be $1 billion by 2020, but we're putting the infrastructure and the people, the technology to be $1 billion company. Now, why is that important? Because $1 billion company saves a lot of children. There's another thing I want to tell you about, is something we call the M-Life. And the M-Life is the Manatech lifestyle. Because what I realize is we're a company that we just don't offer just products, but we offer experiences. We take people all over the world. Being part of Manatech means you're going to travel. How many of you love traveling? Right? If you're an Aussie, yeah. I mean, traveling, having those experiences that you would have never had if you were in a job. Definitely not if you're driving an Uber. Hello? Manatech is a lifestyle.
2019.
Not just
Manatech will take you to the pinnacle of luxury,
pills and powders and
aboard the exquisite
we are about taking people on a journey, creating a movement. Is that what we're doing? We're creating a movement.
Boasting
right, Sandy? We're creating a movement, right? We're creating a movement. That's what we do. And we do it in the most amazing places of the world. Right? Does that make sense? So I want you to start talking about the M-Life, the M-Life, the M-Life. It's not a website, by the way. It's not a program. That's just what. It's an attitude. It's about understanding that we are an experience. We're not just a product. We are relationships. We are experiences. Our value proposition is much bigger, much deeper than anything else out there. Does that make sense? And then, you know what? I do believe that we will be this industry will be the next $1 trillion industry. I believe direct sales will be $1 trillion. We're at 300. We'll be $1 trillion. And I do believe that fortunes are made in times of transition, but I need your picture in there. These are star platinums. How many of you think platinum is in your future? And being a star platinum, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, those things are all in your future. And if we do that, folks, we get to change the world. And for me, that's at the end of the day, when you put your head in the pillow at night, you realize that what you did today will make a difference in the lives of children around the world. It changes you, changes the people around you, and it changes the world all at the same time. Are you with me? So, I do believe we are a no limits company. So let's celebrate today
possibilities and opportunities.
A no limit lifestyle.
Health and wellness at the core.
I love you guys. We'll talk to you
A
soon.
place worth working for. We strive on positivity. Force the key to success.
limits, no limits, no limits.
There's nothing holding you down.
No limits, no limits.
It's time to claim your crown.
No limits, no limits.
What's possible will astound.
No limits, no limits.
So spread your love around.
We all the dreams we long to come true. When men are taking choices up to you. The barriers have been pulled away. You're free to fly, and that's why we say
No limits, no limits. What's possible will
Whoa.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. How awesome was that?